All right, here's a wild thought for you. What if your hair color could actually change how you feel pain? I know, it sounds nuts, right? But today, we're diving into the incredible science behind what's called the redhead gene and its absolutely surprising link to our entire nervous system.
So let's just ask the question straight up. Does your hair color really predict your pain tolerance? It sounds like something out of a comic book, not a science lab. But believe it or not, there is some serious science here, and it might just flip how you think about your own DNA.
Okay, so where did this whole idea even start? You might think it began in some high-tech genetics lab, right? Nope. Our first clue actually comes from a place where pain management is, well, literally a matter of life and death, the operating room.
For years, anesthesiologists kept noticing this thing. It was weird. It turns out to get the same level of sedation, redheads needed, on average, 20% more anesthesia than people with any other hair color. Now, this wasn't just a fluke or a one-off observation. It was happening over and over again, a consistent clinical puzzle that basically forced scientists to go looking for a deeper genetic reason.
And that puzzle, it led them straight into our DNA. Because, as it turns out, this is no coincidence at all. So let's pull back the curtain and unmask the real genetic culprit here, the so-called redhead gene.
So the gene at the heart of all this is called the MC1R gene. Now, you might have heard of it. Its main claim to fame is creating the pigment that gives people red hair and fair skin. That's its day job, right? But that's only half of the story. And this is where it gets really fascinating. The MC1R gene is a total multitasker. On one hand, yes, it's busy with pigment production, but it has this whole other side gig. It also regulates how sensitive your pain receptors are all over your body. Two totally different jobs, all run by one single gene. How crazy is that?
You know, there's a quote from our source material that just nails it perfectly. It says, "The same mutation that turned the hair red turned the pain volume up." I mean, what a great way to put it. It's like your body has a volume knob for pain, and for redheads, that knob is just dialed up a little higher right from the start.
And this isn't just some weird fact that only matters when you're under anesthesia. Oh no, this genetic trait has real, tangible effects on everyday life.
So, how does this actually show up day to day? Well, for one, redheads often feel temperature changes, both hot and cold, way more intensely. They also tend to experience more dental pain. And get this, there's a direct consequence to that. The data actually shows redheads avoid the dentist at higher rates than anyone else. Makes sense, right?
And I really want to be clear about this. This isn't in their heads. It's not an exaggeration or a psychological thing. It is pure physiology. When a redhead feels pain, the actual nerve signal zipping to their brain is genuinely, measurably louder. The signal itself is stronger.
Okay, so if redheads are on one end of this pain spectrum, you're probably wondering, where does everybody else land? Let's zoom out and look at how this whole thing breaks down across different hair colors.
And the research lays it out pretty clearly. When we look at our natural, built-in pain threshold, redheads start with the lowest. Then you have blondes, who are kind of in the middle of the pack. And then, folks with brunette or black hair generally have the highest natural pain threshold.
So there's a really simple rule of thumb that comes out of all this. The darker the hair, the less reactive the pain receptors seem to be. It's a direct line, a correlation between the pigment your MC1R gene is making and how sensitive your nervous system is.
So let's tie this all together, shall we? What this really means is that your genes, from the moment you're conceived, hand you a specific starting point. It's like a factory setting for how you're wired to experience the physical world.
So what are the big takeaways here? The exact same gene that picked out your hair color also helped set your body's pain ceiling. It dialed in your sensitivity to hot and cold, and it even has a say in how much anesthesia you need in surgery. It's a wild genetic package deal, isn't it?
But here's a final, really interesting twist. Is that genetic baseline permanent? Is it set in stone? Well, our source material ends on this fascinating idea. It brings up something called a neural reset protocol, basically techniques designed to recalibrate the nervous system. And the source claims that this kind of protocol can actually adjust pain sensitivity. And here's the kicker, regardless of your genetic starting point. Which suggests that, while our genes give us a starting point, it might not have to be the end of the story.
And that just leaves us with this one big final thought to chew on.
If a single gene for something as seemingly simple as hair color can have such a huge, unexpected impact on how our nervous system works, what else about who you are was decided by your genes before you were even born?